What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back with another video. This time once again, we're looking at one of the weirder sports curses in recent history. As you guys know, in the past, we've had things like the Madden curse, the 2K curse, and in real life sports, you've had actual sports teams as well as cities be cursed for over 50 years. Teams like the Cubs and the Cavaliers, even the Boston Red Sox for a long time, had sports curses surrounding their teams as well as their cities. Now for today's video, our sports curse has to deal with Space Jam 2: A New Legacy. More specifically, how the players in that movie have struggled big time since that film's release. Maybe it's just coincidence, but I find it pretty odd that 6 prominent basketball players have all had really bad down moments since that movie's filming. So with that being said, let's get into the Space Jam 2 curse and look at how bad it really is. So the first player we're going to look at who was cursed by this movie happens to be Anthony Davis. In Space Jam 2, his character was known as The Brow. Now for AD's career in 2020, he did win a championship and a phenomenal playoff run. But in the following 2 seasons, he's been really disappointing, being injured, and not playing up to par. After filming Space Jam, his most recent season has been plagued by injuries and awful play on the court. Looking at AD this year, he's averaging 22.8 points per game, the 7th lowest of his career, 9.6 boards, also the 7th lowest, 6.9 defensive boards, the 8th lowest, 1.2 steals, the 9th lowest, on really poor shooting splits, shooting 17.5% from 3 and 73% from the free throw line. And for someone like Anthony Davis, a perennial all-star and superstar, this season has been an absolute disaster. And as weird as it may be, as I am filming this video, Anthony Davis just got injured versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Once again, this guy is made of glass, and since Space Jam dropped, he's been hurt every other day. Now getting back to the stats angle and looking at how bad AD's been, let's look at how he plays in the paint and around the basket. On the year, he makes 1.4 field goals per game in the paint on 3.3 attempts. For a power forward in the NBA, he ranks 44th as well as 40th. And when it comes to field goal percentage, he has an abysmal 41.8% shooting in the paint. Among players who qualify, Anthony Davis has the lowest field goal percentage in the NBA. Now also looking to the mid-range, AD used to be proficient in his area, but this year his play has drastically dropped, only shooting 38.9% on mid-range field goals, while being one of the NBA's leaders in attempts. So really in summary, Anthony Davis, his play has completely dropped off. He's been injured virtually every other game. And when it comes to shooting the basketball, he's in the bottom tier of superstar and even all-star level players. Now speaking of all-stars, one of the other members of the Goon Squad in Space Jam 2 was indeed Damian Lillard, whose character was known as Kronos. And if you are familiar with Dame Lillard, you know when it comes to the clutch time moment, he's one of the best clutch time players in the NBA. Or at least he was before Space Jam 2 dropped. As this year Dame ranks 36th in clutch time scoring, averaging 2.4 points per game on 27, 18, and 83 splits. That for Dame Lillard standards is simply awful, coming off a year where he was the NBA's leader in clutch time scoring with just under 5 points per game. And even going more in depth, looking at Dame's season, he got off to an absolutely terrible start. In the first 25 games, he was only averaging 22 points on 38% shooting and 31% from 3. And as it stands right now, Dame, his points are down, assists, rebounds, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, as well as 3-point percentage. And looking at those shooting splits, they're drastically down from the previous season. Now also one thing for Dame Lillard that you could always count on was him being healthy and Portland being in the playoff hunt. This year, both those things are not happening, as Portland right now is the 10th seed, barely clinging on to a play-in tournament spot. And for Dame Lillard, he's only played 29 out of his team's 48 games, already the most games he ever missed in a single season, as before that, he had never missed less than 10 games in a single year. So once again, looking at Dame in summary, ever since Space Jam 2, he's had bad break after bad break, his clutch time play is down, his shooting splits are down, he's not healthy, and his Portland team is struggling big time. Now looking at one player from Space Jam 2 who wasn't an NBA player, we have Taurasi of the Phoenix Mercury. In Space Jam the movie, she was playing the character White Mamba. Now for Taurasi, she's an absolute legend and one of the all-time greats. In this past year, her Phoenix team made it all the way to the NBA Finals. But in that series, Taurasi had her worst shooting series of her career. In total, averaging 14.3 points per game, 2.8 boards, 1.3 assists, on pitiful 33, 30, and 87 splits. And in the final 2 games of the finals, she was absolutely dreadful, shooting a combined 5 for 26 from the field and 4 for 17 from 3. And in Game 4, in the 4th quarter, she had 0 points on 0 of 3 shooting with 2 costly turnovers as well as a missed free throw. So once again, a player from Space Jam 2, when it comes to real life basketball, had some big time struggle or some big time down moment. Yes, they made the finals, but in that series, she severely underperformed and underwhelmed in the final 2 games. Now staying in the West, once again, we have an NBA player, this time being LeBron James, the star of Space Jam 2. And looking at LeBron's individual play so far this year, he's been absolutely fantastic and unaffected by the Space Jam curse, averaging 29.1 points per game, 7.7 boards, 6.3 assists, on insane 52, 35, and 76 splits. And actually for LeBron, stats-wise, this is one of his best seasons since the early 2010s. But in a weird twist of fate, LeBron's Lakers have been anything but great this season, which is kinda odd given LeBron's stellar play. And when you really dive in, you start to realize how hard LeBron is carrying this Lakers team at age 37. When he scores 30 plus points in a game, his Lakers team has an 11-11 record. And in his top 10 scoring games, they're a pitiful 3-7. And as it stands right now, they're 24-25 and the 9th seed in the Western Conference. And for LeBron in particular, many fans call him Le GM and the pseudo GM for the Lakers. So looking at Le GM, he made some terrible choices in the offseason that really costed him. He way overpaid Taylor Horton-Tucker, he let Caruso, Kuzma, Harrell, even Dennis Schroeder all walk or be traded. He got in Russell Westbrook and signed a bunch of washed veterans. Now of course the Le GM moniker, it's kind of kidding and kind of playing around, but I have no doubt LeBron James definitely approved every one of those moves. So once again for LeBron this year, his individual play has been fantastic, but his off-the-court moves have been anything but. And being paired with Anthony Davis, another member of the Space Jam curse, doesn't bode well for the LA Lakers. Now sticking on the West Coast, the next member of Space Jam 2 is Klay Thompson, whose character was Wet Fire. Now Klay, as you guys know, the past 2 years has been dealing with severe injuries, that being the Achilles as well as the knee. And when it comes to Klay Thompson, he's no stranger to bad luck. And I think for all NBA fans, we're finally glad to see him back on a court after 2 devastating and severe injuries. So really for the Space Jam curse, I hope Klay breaks it. He's playing decent so far, averaging 14.7 points per game on 39, 33, 100 splits. Golden State with him, they've been alright, not great, but I really am rooting for Klay, and he's the one player for this video who's really been derailed by severe injuries. I know Anthony Davis gets banged up, but Klay had 2 absolute body blows when it comes to injuries. So once again, I hope he gets better, and I hope he breaks the Space Jam curse and possibly win the championships here with the Golden State Warriors. Now the last player on this list is Nneka Ogwumike, a member of the LA Sparks. And if you guys didn't know, she's a former MVP for the WNBA. But after filming Space Jam, she had one of her worst seasons of her career, only averaging 14.5 points per game, 6.5 boards on 80% shooting from the line. All those ranks on the bottom 3 quarters of her career. And to add insult to injury, her LA team had a 12-20 record and missed the playoffs for the 2nd straight season. So once again, a common theme for this video is LA teams, West Coast teams, severe injuries, and a huge dip in play as well as overall production. Looking at all the players in Space Jam 2, one thing or another has gone wrong since that movie's filming when it comes to their overall basketball career. Looking at Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, Taurasi, as well as Nneka Ogwumike. Now with that being said, that is the end of the video. Let me guys know below, do you believe in curses? Are you superstitious? And what do you think of the Space Jam curse applying to these players for the 2022 season. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.